Okay, now we're moving to a very special part of our evening. Broderick is already standing here with me, so I'm going to introduce him so he can give us his keynote address. Broderick Allan, of course you know, he is our valedictorian of the class of 2014. He's graduating summa cum laude. You know he is a National Merit finalist. He's also included that he was captain of the two-time National Championship Science Bowl team, and he'll be headed to Brown University in the fall to study neuroscience. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Broderick Allan.
Author H.P. Lovecraft once wrote, "The oldest and strongest emotion in mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown." What better time to talk about fear than at a point in our lives when everything that we have known to date is about to change. We are about to cast aside the familiar and delve into the unknown. Most of us have spent the past 13 years in school surrounded by friends and adults who have encouraged us, directed us, and yes, at times, even scolded us. Now we are asked to set aside that assistance and go forth alone. You might wonder what to expect, living away from your parents, managing your own time and resources, competing with other students, not knowing anyone. These considerations can engender apprehension and anxiety in even the most robust individual. Anyone who knows me as the neurotic individual that I am will know that I am simultaneously the worst and the best person to speak about fear. As the worst spokesperson, you may know that I am riddled with anxieties. I have numerous maladaptive, compulsive ways to manage or mismanage these concerns. However, experiencing anxiety on an everyday basis, I am also the best spokesperson to address the issue of blinding, overriding fear. I know it well. For many years, I've struggled with obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD. I doubt everything. I can never be certain, so consequently, I'm never sure about anything. I leave myself loopholes when answering questions on the off chance that perhaps I forgot something that would render my statement untrue. I cannot lie to save my life. Most of the behavior that happens because of OCD is due to fear. A fear of being wrong, a fear of the unknown, a fear of lying. I do not worry like some with OCD that bad things will happen if I do not engage in prescribed rituals. I simply do them because they make me feel better and less fearful. I get inordinately anxious when I'm thwarted from doing what's familiar and comforting. I bring up my OCD to point out that fear can be a staple of a person's life and can force decisions that might not be in that person's best interests. If you allow fear to rule your life and guide your decisions, you are headed for trouble. As psychiatrist Gordon Livingston points out, the most secure prisons are those we construct for ourselves. Everything you are afraid to try constitutes a limitation on what you are and what you could become. Fear is the most destructive of human emotions. Fear can cloud your judgment and lead you into rash and often poor decisions. The control and understanding of fear is one of the most important undertakings of your life. Right about now, you are probably expecting me to tell you to confront your fears and be whoever you want to be. Close, but not quite right. Rather than leave your fears behind, I think you should bring your fear along with you. Believe it or not, fear is useful, even helpful under the right circumstances. The main message I wish to impart is that you need to look at fear as simply a piece of information and to use that information to decide how to respond. Some fear signals danger. It tells you to avoid dangerous situations and to not walk away with that seemingly nice man to help him find his lost puppy. Without fear, you would forge ahead and face dire consequences. However, some fear is harmful. For example, you need to confront the fear of different races or cultures. You need to confront such irrational fears or phobias that serve no practical purpose in your life. I was thinking about an analogy, and I happened upon one that I think is particularly apt. It shows how fear can be either helpful or harmful, depending on how it is used. Here it is. Fear is like fire. Fear, like fire, can be destructive and dangerous. Both can completely obliterate things, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Get too close to either fire or fear, and you get burned. Left unchecked, both fire and fear consume all around them. An unmonitored fire can burn kilometers of land, as we recently saw in California and Arizona. Uncensored fear can lead you to withdraw from the world, hibernating in the false safety of your home. But fear, like fire, can also be a useful tool if harnessed in the right way. The key to both fire and fear is you need to learn how to use them. Just as fire is used in chemistry to analyze the composition of a material, you use fear in life to analyze an ambiguous situation. Just as fire can be formed into a torch to illuminate your path, fear can be used as a signal to stop and evaluate a situation. Just as fire can be used to weld two pieces of metal together, fear can bring people of all backgrounds together, united for a common goal. Just as you use fire to cook, heat your house, and light your way, you use fear to become more alert and focused. Just as fire can signal danger, keeping you from entering a burning building, similarly, fear can be protective in that it sometimes stops you from doing something stupid. Now, you may avoid struggle because of fear. You stick to the familiar. However, struggle and fear are necessities when it comes to developing your talent. You feel them at the edge of your abilities. Push through them, and you will excel, provided you took the time to sort out the meaning of your fear. Like it or not, you're about to be thrust into a new phase of your life. How you manage this new phase, not whether you embark on it, is what will determine your character. Don't worry, you don't have to face the new unknown with no armor. You have more training than you may realize. Sneakily, your teachers have subtly prepared you for your next step. SASA has provided you with more skills than you may realize. For example, public speaking. Those of you who went to Hanley know what I mean. From kindergarten on, you're expected to perform in plays, present new topics to your classmates, and basically stand up and talk to others without hesitation. SASA has continued that legacy. Competition. Regardless of whether you're in math, science, language arts, voice keyboard, or any of the other concentrations, you have had to deal with competitions. For example, science fair, Michigan History Day, dance recitals, Michigan Youth Arts, and MUN, to name only a few. By competing regularly with others around the state or country, you learn to demystify competition. So what if you screwed up one contest? There's always another around the corner. Collaboration. Most teachers require a group project at one time or another. Remember WAWA and the value of working with students in other concentrations on a common goal? Acceptance of diversity. We are blessed to have a diverse student population. There are students from both working class and wealthy families, and the school's racial makeup is also very mixed. There are formalized ways that SASA incorporates diversity into the curriculum, such as the Building Unity Through Diversity art show and Nobuche Science Bowl. Flexibility and creativity. You know how schools have to compete for limited resources. SASA has taught you how to use what you have and to make something new and possible, and how to pull resources and talents. Many class assignments require you to apply what you've learned in new and innovative ways. Science fairs and history presentations require independent thinking and creative ways to test hypotheses. Art projects require a flexible approach to create something new. Dance requires flexibility on multiple levels. A pursuit of excellence. SASA has students presenting on a national and even international stage. Consistently, students come back from college to tell SASA staff how well prepared they were for college classes. SASA has taught you to push yourself and to risk failure by venturing into new domains. And finally, curiosity. Above all, SASA has nourished your curiosity. The faculty members at SASA routinely suspend everyday lectures in favor of an interesting question or diversion. I personally have had classes inside, outside, and in various other venues. SASA teachers have taught you not just facts and skills, but how to think critically and how to evaluate what you have learned. With these skills that SASA has taught you, you do not go unarmed into this new chapter of your life. So, do not be afraid of being afraid. Fear simply offers a glimpse of your own daring. Do not sell yourself short by being so afraid of failure that you do not dare make any mistakes. However, learn to appreciate fear as a significant source of information a companion of sorts. Listen to the advice that fear has to offer and correctly appraise what to do next. Having OCD, I confront my fears every day. I make mistakes daily, and I try to recognize that each mistake provides a learning opportunity. I've learned to treat fear as a piece of information that I will use to determine my path. I will now leave you with two quotes. C. Joybell C. said, "To know species, look at its fears. To know yourself, look at your fears. Fear in itself is not important, but fear stands there and points you in the direction of things that are important. Don't be afraid of your fears. They are not there to scare you. They are there to let you know that something is worth it." And finally, as Carlos Ruiz Zafón said, "Don't be afraid of being scared. To be afraid is a sign of common sense. Only complete idiots are not afraid of anything."